Isaiah Ford traded from Miami to the New England Patriots for a 7th-round pick. We had the Chiefs and Dolphins swap late-round picks for running back DeAndre Washington, but no big trades have come down, at least so far. We don't think any will happen. Meanwhile, Andy Dalton was placed on the reserve COVID-19 list today, which means he will not play Sunday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That means the Dallas Cowboys either will have to turn to Cooper Rush or Ben DiNucci again, but it will not be Dalton. It will not be Dak Prescott, and that will be a difficult assignment against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And while Dalton's on the COVID-19 list, players now are being asked to wear masks at all times in the bench area. The league is tightening mask requirements across the league as it tries to fight off the pandemic affecting the rest of the country. That'll be the next step that the league takes, but it's going to ask players to be wearing masks more often.
Adam Schefter with us all show long. And hi, everybody. Good to see you. You just saw Adam. Diana Russini joining us momentarily with some news. On the trade deadline, the Packers and Patriots. Dan Orlovsky there. Marcus Spears waving to the camera. Mina Kimes as well. Let's get right to it on this busy day. And I mentioned those Packers. They don't end up making a deal at the deadline. And Diana Russini's been all over this news. First of all, Diana, Will Fuller in the mix. Why did they not ultimately make a move to get Aaron Rodgers another weapon today?
There was definitely a split with the Green Bay Packers in terms of what direction they wanted to move here. There were some that were part of the football organization, at least the football side of this, that wanted to get Aaron Rodgers a wide receiver. Will Fuller from the Texans being one of those guys. But there were some decision makers here in the front office who did not believe or feel that they wanted to spend that money. They felt that Aaron Rodgers has enough weapons and is able to be as productive as he's been with the guys that they have on their roster at this point. So that's the offensive side of this, Laura. There's also a defensive component to this. We know that they have struggled all season long, stopping the run. I also know that there are people on this coaching staff that really tried to get this front office to make a move here, to get them some defensive players to help there. But as we see now, no moves were made for Green Bay.
As you were talking, Diana, and you'll be with us throughout this show as well, Mina Kimes, I'm watching your face, and as she was saying that the Packers didn't feel like they needed to add more weapons because maybe they felt like they had enough already on this team. What's your reaction to Diana's reporting of what the Packers didn't do here?
Well, I think they could have used help on both sides of the ball. We've talked a lot about the lack of wide receivers or playmakers, but defense has been even more of an issue for this Packers team. They ranked 29th in Football Outsiders DVOA, which is an efficiency ranking. And this Sunday, their performance against Minnesota, Laura, much like Marcus Spears' outfit, reminds me of Dan Orlovsky's outfit. They're basically twins. It reminded me of the NFC Championship game because yet again, this defense got steamrolled. I mean, granted, Kirk Cousins threw it a few more times. Jimmy only threw it 6 times, but he didn't attempt a single pass or complete a single pass, rather, more than 10 yards. See, they're twins, guys. Look at that. It's uncanny. It didn't complete a single pass more than 10 yards downfield. We knew what this offense was going to do. They came in bad weather. They wanted to run the football, and Green Bay still couldn't stop them. This team has punted on the linebacker position, and we're seeing the effect of that year after year, and I'm surprised they haven't made more of an effort to address it.
I like that you in defense, and I like how we getting this day started off early on this show because I can tell it's going to be a good one. Listen, the addressing of the wide receiver spot is what everybody has been paying attention to, and I thought this team was fine, honestly, Dan and Mina, when Lazard was playing at his level and they were waiting for Devontae to get back. But as soon as that injury happened, it was pushed to the forefront that they needed to try to get someone else in there to complement what Devontae does on the other side. We've seen them have their struggles. Aaron Rodgers is solely focused on Devontae and making plays and the guy that he trusts. Tonyan came in at tight end. Valdez-Scantling has not turned out to be a guy. He's had moments, ups and downs. But we were seeing Lazard transition into being a legit 2 and a guy that can make plays down the field based on what we watched him do in New Orleans in particular. But when that transpired, they should have been players in the field for a wide receiver. And for them in their organization to say they have a guy, they don't. They don't because they are not watching what we watching here.
Yeah, and just to reiterate Diana Russini's reporting, Dan, she's saying that some of the coaching staff said they wanted to make some moves, and then others in the organization not on the same page. Let's go to the macro level here. Why do you think the Packers didn't make moves today?
Well, there's really only two reasons. One, if you're the general manager, you either think that you can't win the Super Bowl this year. You either think that your team cannot win the Super Bowl this year, or you think that you're closer than you really are. Because there's no way that Brian Gutekunst, their general manager, watches the same tape that I watched, that you guys watch, that everyone watches and goes, that's a Super Bowl contending football team. There's no way that you can do that and look at the defense and go, that defense is good enough to get a stop when we need him to get a stop. Especially against teams when playoff football comes into play and they very specifically will attack you. So that's my only reasoning to understand it. And listen, I want to address Diana's report that, there's a different viewpoint between the coaching staff and front office. Do you know who knows the football team better than anybody? The coach. The general manager does not know the football team as well as the coach. The coach is in those meetings every single day, watching tape on their team every single day, watching that practice and grinding. And so if the coach takes a really, really, really good team and says, I need this one piece. I need this one piece for us to go be bona fide Super Bowl contenders. You know what you do? You get it done and you figure out later. You figure it out in 2021 when you're holding a Lombardi trophy. And that's why I'm so disappointed with Green Bay today.
Yeah, you think about Green Bay and the opportunity already having drafted Jordan Love and not getting a weapon, but then a chance maybe to get somebody in there right now and try to win, or maybe on the defensive side of the ball not doing it. It does make you raise questions, especially as we get closer to the postseason with this team. Their opponent Thursday, the 49ers, just a couple days away from that Week 9 matchup, and tough times for the 49ers just when it felt like they could hang on despite dealing with tons of injuries. The injuries reached a whole new level. Quarterback Jimmy G and tight end George Kittle both missing multiple weeks with injuries. Adam Schefter has reported very well could be that their seasons are over. But Schefter, that sounded so weird. That's not the only issue in the game on Thursday. Tell us more about what the Packers are dealing with.
Well, you got it, Rutledge. Basically, the Packers are dealing with injuries. The 49ers are dealing with injuries. The Packers right now basically have had Jamal Williams be determined to be a close contact, so he cannot play. They've already lost A.J. Dillon. They don't know whether Aaron Jones can even play due to that calf injury. So their running backs on Thursday night right now could wind up being Dexter Williams and Tyler Irving. Those could be their running backs. As for the 49ers right now, they're in a situation where today they ruled out Tevin Coleman, who suffered an injury on Sunday against Seattle. They ruled out Deebo Samuel. George Kittle is out for the season. Jimmy Garoppolo is out for a minimum of 6 weeks and may need season-ending surgery. So there are a whole host of injuries that the 49ers are going through. These two teams have very few running backs left. The 49ers may start JaMycal Hasty, an undrafted free agent, and the Green Bay Packers may start Dexter Williams on Thursday Night Football this week.
We'll keep an eye on that. Maybe something for the fantasy people to pay attention to there as well. And by the way, even before the injuries to Jimmy G and George Kittle, San Fran, the highest cap value of players on IR this season at $54.2 million. Back to the trade deadline, Diana Russini reporting today that multiple teams who have called the Patriots about cornerback Stephon Gilmore told by New England they want a first-round pick and a player in exchange for Gilmore. He was the Defensive Player of the Year last season, thus the high asking price. So, Diana, was it that asking price that ultimately led Gilmore to remaining in New England?
Yeah, I'm talking to someone in New England right now over text trying to figure out what happened, if there was anyone even close to perhaps landing this, and it seems that no one was able to get to that very hefty price of the first-round draft pick along with the player. I did also speak to Stephon Gilmore this week leading up to it, trying to get an idea of how he felt about all this, because we know he's not really used to dealing with a New England team that is as bad as they are right now, and he had such a good attitude about all this, obviously open to whatever was going to be his destiny here, but I did get a sense that he wanted to stay in New England. As we know, he's got a great relationship with Bill Belichick and the rest of the guys on that team, but it seemed that the price tag for Gilmore was just a little